Good morning, readers. Today is Friday, May 14th, and you're listening to First Chapter Fridays, presented by the Baker Free Library. My name is Juliana, and I am the library's Youth Services librarian. Welcome to this week's program. To skip this introduction, please jump ahead to the next segment. Every Friday, I'll be sharing the first chapter of a middle grade book with you. Middle grade books are designed for readers aged 8 to 12, but they can be enjoyed by readers of every age. We hope that this program will introduce you to authors and titles you've never read or considered before. If you like today's chapter, you can place a reserve on the featured book using the library's catalog, or by calling the library at 224-7113. If you'd like something to do while you listen, head to the library's website, BowBakerFreeLibrary.org. On the For Kids page, listed under Events and Programs, you'll find a link to an active listening worksheet that you can download and print. While you're listening today, jot down any thoughts, questions, or ideas you have about the story. You can also doodle, pick up your room, build with Legos, or work on a craft project while you listen. Okay, readers, let's jump into today's story. As we travel the world with the projects in this month's Creative Kit, our First Chapter Friday selections will too. Today, you'll meet Jude from war-torn Syria, who immigrates to the United States with her mother, leaving half of her family behind. This novel in verse is a powerful exploration of the fear, insecurity, and hope that many immigrants experience, and it's one of 20 nominees for this year's Great Stone Face Book Award. This is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. Jude never thought she'd be leaving her beloved older brother and father behind, all the way across the ocean in Syria. But when things in her hometown become volatile, Jude and her mother are sent to live in Cincinnati, Ohio, with relatives. At first, everything in America seems too fast and too loud. The American movies Jude has always loved haven't quite prepared her for starting school in the U.S., and her new label of Middle Eastern, an identity she's never known before. But this life also brings unexpected surprises. There are new friends, a whole new family, and a school musical that Jude just might try out for. Maybe America, too, is a place where Jude can be seen as she really is. This story is about losing and finding home, and most importantly, finding yourself. Want to hear more? Let's begin reading Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. Part 1. Changing. Chapter 1. It is almost summer, and everywhere smells like fish, except for right down by the sea, where if you hold your nose just right, you can smell the sprawling jasmine and the salt water instead. In the summer, I always hold my nose to avoid the stench of fish and tourists that smell like hairspray and money and French perfume. The tourists come from Damascus and Aleppo, sometimes even Beirut and Amman. Once I met a man all the way from Doha. I asked him about the big skyscrapers that I've heard reach all the way up to the heavens, but Baba hushed me quiet before the man could answer me. Baba does not like for me to talk to tourists, strangers, men. He does not want me to talk to anyone that I do not know, and even people that I do know, he always says, Jude, skatey. And so I bite my tongue, and it sometimes tastes even worse than the way the summer fish smell. Everyone is saying that there will be fewer visitors from Aleppo this year, that there is no one left in Aleppo to come, that everyone who could leave Aleppo already has. When I ask Mama if this is true, she says, Jude, skatey. Chapter 2. Our city does not look like what they show on TV of Syria. I remember the first time Fatima and I saw a story about Aleppo on the news. We felt proud. I know that is strange to say, childish maybe. It felt strange even then, but it also felt like the rest of the world saw me. But our city does not look like Aleppo before or after. It is not sprawling and noisy with buildings, pressed up against one another like they are crammed together in an elevator with no room to breathe. Our city is on the sea. It sits below the mountains. It is where the rest of Syria comes when they want to breathe. No one is going to come this year, Fatima says. And I wonder if that is because there is no one left who needs to breathe. Chapter 3. Fatima is 24 days, 6 hours, and 11 minutes older than me. She did the math. Fatima hates math, but loves when she comes out on top. We have always been friends. Mama and Aunt Amal have known each other since they were girls. We live across the courtyard from them, and sometimes, when I was little, I would squeeze my eyes shut at night and pretend that Fatima and I were dreaming the same dream. When I was little, it was easy to imagine that. Fatima and I were always in step, 4 feet pointed in the same direction. But the last few months have been different. Fatima feels kilometers ahead of me now. Her dark curls aren't on display anymore, tumbling to her shoulders in unruly waves that remind me of laughter. Her head is wrapped in silk scarves that are bright and colored like jewels. She is one of the first girls in our grade to cover. I am still waiting to feel like I have something worth covering. Chapter 4. Fatima and I almost always have our Isroniya together. Either Mama makes it or Auntie Amal. Fatima likes to have olives, green and black, so fat that you can stick your fingers inside them and eat them one by one. I think olives taste like the sea, and all that salt makes me dizzy. I eat the jebna and the bread that Mama gets from Hiba's bakery around the corner, because she knows it is my favorite. Hiba makes her bread as fluffy as a pillow. I eat so much of it that Mama always has to remind me that Esroniya is supposed to last me until dinner, but it is not dinner. During Esroniya, we drink tea, or Fatima drinks tea, and I drink sugar and mint with a side of tea. We watch old American movies that we bought with our Eid and birthday money. We watch Julia Roberts fall in love, and we watch Sandra Bullock track down criminals, and we watch Reese Witherspoon go to law school. Fatima and I both want to be movie stars. Fatima also wants to be a doctor, but I only want to be a movie star. The wanting pulses so hard in my chest that it sometimes hurts. My older brother, Isa, used to watch the movies with us. He would sometimes even act them out with us, standing up on the couch, imitating Reese's way of speaking English, all slow and sugary. He used to, until one day Baba came home from work, early, and walked in on us acting out the movies. Baba didn't say anything, not even Jude Skati. He didn't even look at me, only at Isa. He shook his head and walked into his bedroom. Chapter 5. I am walking down by the shore with my favorite person in the whole world, my older brother, Isa. We are strolling down the stretch of beach that is open to everyone. Only people who, like Isa and me, have always lived here walk on this beach. Only people who don't have piles and piles of money walk on this beach. Soon we will be able to walk anywhere we want, Isa says. Things are going to change. I follow his eyes to the other side of the beach, where there are plush white chairs, shaded by white and blue striped canopies. The chairs sit empty, but they are not open. The salty wind is whipping through Isa's dark hair, and he is wearing his serious face. His serious face is new. Isa used to love to sing American pop songs with me and Fatima at the top of his lungs. He knew every word of Madonna, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. Now he knows other words like revolution, democracy, and change, change, change. He is always talking about change. My feet sink into the sand, and I realize I do not want things to change. I want things to go back to the way they were, which I guess is another sort of changing, but it is not what Isa is talking about. The sky is melting overhead. The sun, like my feet, is sinking lower and lower, swirls of yellows and dusty pinks. Are you coming to dinner? It still feels strange to ask my brother this question. His presence at dinner used to be as certain as the sunset, but now that has also changed. Isa's face twitches again, from serious to sorry, and I know he isn't coming. I'm meeting Saeed and Jasmine, he says, and Baba would tell you that my brother and his friends are plotting revolution. Our Baba is furious that Isa goes to these meetings. he calls them treasonous, and Isa says that it is our president, Bashar al-Assad, who is treasonous, who is oppressing his own people. Isa shouts at Baba about free elections and real democracy and unlawful use of force, and Baba shouts about stability and safety, and then stability again. You should come with me, Isa says, bringing me out of my memory and back to the beach. He knows that I can't. I am not like Isa. I am good at taking an extra piece of bread at Gada, at talking too loud and too quickly about American movie stars. I am not good at defying Baba. You should care about our country too, he says. I do, I say, but what I mean is that I care about my brother, and my Baba, and my Mama, and I just want to live in a country where we can all have dinner again without shouting about our president, or rebels, and revolution. That's where we'll stop for today, readers. If you'd like to hear more of this story, call the library or visit BowBakerFreeLibrary.org to reserve Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. If you like this story, you might enjoy other books about the immigrant experience, including A Place to Belong by Cynthia Kadohara, The Year I Flew Away by Marie Arnold, or Last of the Name by Roseanne Perry, the author of A Wolf Called Wander. Thank you for listening to this episode of First Chapter Fridays. Tune in again next week for another great story.